I'm going to ask you this question is, what do you think your biggest failure in life is? And what did you learn from it?
I can't really think of like a biggest failure. Like there's times that I failed in things I've done, but it's just a lesson from it and learning from it. I'll think about, all right, so let's throw it back to when I was in college,
Okay.
freshman, sophomore year. I almost bombed out of college twice. Like all I did was party freshman year. My GPA was like a 1.5. Like I was literally on brink of getting kicked out of school. I think, and then sophomore year, I think I got a DUI. And I think that was my biggest failure because that was an eye opener for my entire life. Like once I got that, I was like, I got a DUI. I got locked up for a little bit, or just did the holding cell. It just felt like very like that wasn't me. You know what I mean?
All right.
And then I was about to get kicked out of school. My parents put all this money into me to, get me an education. And then that from day on, I just like stopped what I was doing, and I was like, I gotta turn this around to my life. So that's what happened.
Wow.
Take school more seriously. I found you. I'm like, oh, I want to get into that and see if I learn anything. Really stuck with that. I worked a few jobs just to put some money in my pocket, but I was just a very, very hard worker. Like thing I did, I worked hard for. I think that was the point when I was like at my lowest from college.
Wow. So freshman year, you almost bombed out 1.8.
Yeah, sophomore year I was like 1.7.
Jesus. And then you got a DUI sophomore year as well.
Freshman or sophomore year, somewhere around there.
Somewhere in that time.
Yeah. My dad sent me to school because my license was suspended. I felt like the biggest loser. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, no, This is not what I want to have.
Right.
I turned it around.
And that's it. I think that's a great lesson, man. Like, especially if you have kids that are like, maybe graduating, you deal with a lot of kids as well, like high school kids for football that although you may fuck up, which is pretty normal at some point, there's going to be some point where you have to make a decision that's time for you to change. I think you found that. And I'm glad you did. Man.
Me too.
Because you fucking are really good at what you do. So it's not over if you get a DUI. Most people may say it's over. I might as well just keep getting DUIs, or now I'll just keep fucking up, and they always think that they're a fuck up their entire life. But sometimes you're not. It's just a decision to be different, than what you are, and recognizing who you are. And Matt just said it. Matt goes, I just didn't feel like myself. And I think that's very important. Like knowing who you are, what you're doing, where you're going is a very important, factor to have in any type of growth, whether you're in high school, college, or fucking 55 or 30, you can still be lost. Why do you think people go through midlife crisis and quarter life crisis? Because we have no idea what the fuck is happening. So life is just moving and you don't want to catch up and you get lost, and you hit these swings of things, and it happens.
And I also believe you have to surround yourself with the right people. I think that was like I told you, like once I went to you for that internship, that really changed everything for me. Like I was just around all great people, like starting with you and then the whole team and then all the members there. Just made me a better person. Hanging out less with my so-called friends at the time. Like I wasn't hanging out with them anymore. And then ever since then, you learn from all these other people, different ages. You become what you want to be, who you surround yourself with, and what you want to do.
Yep, you are who you hang out with. It's probably the biggest life key for any kid that's growing up. And it's funny when you're a kid or a teenager, you listen to your parents like, don't hang out with him, he's bad news. Where it's like, no, he's not. And then you find out like later on down the line, it's like, man, imagine if I kept hanging out with them. Like, where would I be? What would I be doing? And it's never changed.
But you learn sometimes you need to go through that.
Right.
It's a failures to understand and learn. Because if you don't, then you'll never learn anything.
Exactly. And that's the biggest failure. It's not learning from your failure. That's definitely the biggest failure. And I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad you did that. If you look at his left hand, he very nicely wears a wedding ring. He just recently got married. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
My question to you is that where did you meet her? Because Matt is very secretive. By the way, just so you know, Matt posts everything about working out, the Giants, fucking his car at the time. This was like at the time when they're dating, I guess. I never knew he had a girlfriend. I didn't know anything. Where did you meet her? And how the fuck did you know? I know you knew she was the one, but how did you know?
Oh man, she's gonna watch this now. All right, so I met her through a mutual friend. I DM'd her on Instagram. I shot my shot and it worked, guys. So whoever's out there, shoot your shots. You might get no's, but there's gonna be one yes. And now I'm married to her. So I'm very happy. We're very happy. We have our house now together. But let's go back, rewind. So I messaged her like 5 a.m. because I need to be at 5 a.m. class at Crank. She's like, what is this dude messaging me at 5 a.m? I don't know what it was. Maybe it was like hump day or something. I said something funny. Met up for our first date. We had sushi at Momoya in Bloomfield. I was very confident. I wasn't nervous. And I'm usually nervous when I go on a date or something. But for some reason, I was super confident in this one. So I was like, this one might be the one. I don't know. So fast forward, yeah, we have a house together. We're married. We're happy. Hopefully a future family. And what was the other questions? I forgot.
I think that was it. How did you meet her? You kind of answered it. That was it. Yeah.
And yeah, so people, you were saying I'm like secretive about like what I post like with my personal life. I kind of am. I'll post it once in a while. But I know like for me, things that are like super important to my life, I try not to like post it on social media because that's kind of like my own privacy thing. And I feel like a lot of people like kind of just like people who are like a lot of relationships, they're always posting. I'm like, I feel like that's not gonna work. Then it ends up not working.
Right.
Like whatever's important to you, keep it like to you first. Then when you know and you guys are married and all that, then start posting that stuff.
Agreed. It's almost like when someone's in a bad place when they're posting a lot of positive shit.
Yes.
Right. It's like, I can do this. You can do this. We can do this. I'm like, yeah, the gun's in my throat. It's that intense. And they're like, it's almost like, please help me. This is how they want to portray. We just watched a weird documentary too. I think it's called American Murder. And it's just about like how this lady portrayed this life about how great, everything was, but deep down, she ended up getting killed by her husband. But, I don't want to ruin it for you guys. Not that anyone's going to fucking watch it anyway. But it really does make sense that like I talk about personally, like back then, I knew nothing about, I never ask anyone about their personal life anyway, unless they're okay, especially like relationships and shit. I just never got into it, but I never even knew. I didn't know Ames was getting married. And no one knows Ames had kids.
Ames, that's a perfect example.
Perfect example.
I didn't know he had 3 kids. I was like, what?
Where'd the third one come from?
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.